Experience has taught me that if people do things against you, it will ultimately benefit you. You can't shake hands with clenched fists. Affluence is the best contraceptive. The true way of life is the way of truth, non-violence, and love. My grandfather once told me that people are divided into those who work and those who credit themselves with the results of that work. He advised me to fall into the first group. There is less competition. I don't think men are more liberated than women. Martyrdom is not the end, but only the beginning. My father was a statesman. I'm only a woman politician. My father was a saint. I am not. My grandfather once told me that there were two kinds of people: those who do the work and those who take the credit. He told me to try to be in the first group. There was much less competition. We should not mourn for men of high ideals. Rather, we should rejoice that we had the privilege of having had them with us, to inspire us by their radiant personalities. We admired Dr. King. We felt his loss as our own. The tragedy rekindled memories of the great martyrs of all time who gave their lives so that men might live and grow. You can't shake hands with a clenched fist. The power to question is the basis of all human progress. A nation's strength ultimately consists in what it can do on its own and not in what it can borrow from others. Forgiveness is a virtue of the brave. You must learn to be still in the midst of activity and to be vibrantly alive in repose. The embattled woman who relishes crosswords, children, and running India. There are moments in history when brooding tragedy and its dark shadows can be lightened by recalling great moments of the past. I am not interested in a long life. I am not afraid of these things. I don't mind if my life goes in the service of this nation. If I die today, every drop of my blood will invigorate the nation. My father was a statesman. I'm a political woman. My father was a saint. I'm not. To be liberated, woman must feel free to be herself, not in rivalry to man, but in the context of her own capacity and her personality. All unprejudiced persons objectively surveying the grim events in Bangladesh since March 25th have recognized the revolt of 75 million people, a people who were forced to the conclusion that neither their life nor their liberty, to say nothing of the possibility of the pursuit of happiness, was available to them. India wants to avoid a war at all costs. But it is not a one-sided affair. You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. Dhaka is now the free capital of a free country. India under Indira Gandhi was also probably the arena for more KGB active measures than anywhere else in the world, though their significance appears to have been considerably exaggerated by the centre, which overestimated its ability to manipulate Indian opinion. Indira is India and India is Indira. The question before us is not whether Indira Gandhi should continue to be Prime Minister or not. The point is whether democracy in this country is to survive or not. The democratic structure stands on three pillars, namely a strong opposition, independent judiciary and free press. Emergency has destroyed all these essentials. In the end, Indira Gandhi has earned her name as a great martyr on the doorsteps of history. With her courage and efficiency, she demonstrated that only she understood the realities of our corrupt and divided society and was capable of uniting the country dominated by rotten politics. She was a great woman, and in her valiant death, she has become greater. Yes, it's true. It's true that Joan of Arc was my dream as a little girl. I discovered her toward the age of 10 or 12 when I went to France. I don't remember where I read about her, but I recall that she immediately took on a definite importance for me. I wanted to sacrifice my life for my country. It seems like foolishness, and yet, what happens when we're children is engraved forever in our lives. I'm not for nationalization because of the rhetoric of nationalization, or because I see in nationalization the cure-all for every injustice. I'm for nationalization in cases where it's necessary. Look, I don't see the world as something divided between right and left. And I don't at all care who's on the right or left or in the center, even though we use them, even though I use them myself. These expressions have lost all meaning. I'm not interested in one label or the other. I'm only interested in solving certain problems, in getting where I want to go. I have certain objectives. As for the position they held in this war, well, I think they've been more skillful than the Americans. Certainly they've had a lighter touch. Had they wanted to, they could have done more for Pakistan. Isn't that so? It was the Americans who sent the 7th Fleet into the Bay of Bengal, not the Chinese. However, I had recently had the impression they were changing, not so much by becoming less pro-Pakistan as by becoming less anti-India. I was wrong. My visit to Nixon did anything but avert the war. It was useful only to me. The experience taught me that when people do something against you, that something always turns out in your favor. At least you can use it to your advantage. It's a law of life. Check it, and you'll see it holds true in every situation of life. And do you know why I won this war? Because my army was able to do it, yes, but also because the Americans were on the side of Pakistan.